future is here. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
Hey guys, welcome to Kristina's Corner. I'm super excited for today's episode. I have with me Julian and Abdul, who are the masterminds behind the Currency Project on Instagram, and you probably have seen them on eBay as well. So thank you guys so much for being on with me today.
Hey, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was great.
Yeah, and thanks for your advocacy. It means a lot to us.
Of course. Art and cards, as everyone knows, is kind of my jam. So I love what you guys are doing, and I immediately was like, have to get these guys on. We have to talk about this project and let everyone know what's happening on the card art scene. So before we get into the Currency Project, let's talk about your PC, because you guys are collectors. So when did you begin collecting?
So I'll go first here. I started collecting back in 1992. Started looking for Shaq rookie cards in, 92 Upper Deck, which I recently got a hold of one recently. It's been years.
If you show it again, I'll zoom in on it. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been looking for that one for quite some time. Finally got a hold of one. And from there, I think I just was extremely excited about sports, extremely excited about cards. I started spending a lot of time hanging out at the local card shop. This is down in South Orange County. And I think it was one summer I was there pretty much every day for like 3 weeks straight. And the card shop owner basically came up to me and said, "Hey, how would you like to make a little extra money? You know, I'll pay you in credit." And of course, I jumped at that chance. It was a great idea, and spent hours, days sorting cards, building sets. I was just so excited about sports cards. I just wanted to be around them. I'd do anything to be around them and talk about them. It was fantastic. And from there, I've just been a lifelong collector. Been collecting ever since.
Nice. And Julian?
For me, how I got interested in sports cards is kind of a funny story. Is Abdul had been telling me for years that I should use my basketball knowledge to invest in sports cards, and I always used to be like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the stock market, and that's where I do my investing, and I'm comfortable with living in that space. And I really remember this day where in like late 2019, Abdul was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the sports card shop and I'm gonna try to pick up a bunch of Jordan cards." And so he came back with this stack. I mean, it was a thick stack of Jordan cards, and he was like, "Yeah, I paid like 25 cents each for each of these cards." And I was looking through them and I was like, "Oh, these are really cool." You know, like I love basketball. I love Michael Jordan. I'd pay 25 cents for one of these cards. And not long after, in 2020, these exact same cards were selling for $20 each on eBay. And it was that moment that solidified the idea in my head that there's alternative markets out there and forms of investment that are really challenging even my own traditional thoughts of investing. And I remember it like, that at that moment I was hooked on sports cards, and it's been all downhill since then.
Uphill.
Yeah, uphill, please, uphill. So besides Shaq, Abdul, and obviously Michael Jordan that we learned, who do you collect? What do you collect?
Good question. Oddly enough, I am a huge hockey fan. Got my Quebec Nordiques hat on here. Somehow transitioned from baseball and basketball in like the mid 90s into collecting hockey, and just have been in love with it ever since. And I specifically focus on 90s inserts, ideally serial numbered inserts. So I'll show a couple from my collection here. I am a big Peter Forsberg fan, hence the Quebec Nordiques hat. So in particular, here we go. This is a 95, 96 all rookie team, gold medallion edition. And why I'm a big fan of that card is specifically those were only available in rack packs, and not too many people know that. And I think actually in I don't know if they were also rack packs in the NBA versions, but very difficult to come across, and you rarely see those come up on eBay. So I was really excited to get a hold of one of those. Another one of my favorites here, I got a 97, 98. There you go, centered. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Another Peter Forsberg. This one here is a 1 gram of fine gold. So 97, 98 Donruss Preferred Precious Metals card. Also very difficult to find. And I love about that, it's, the value added in actually adding the precious metal into the card, adding to that intrinsic value. A lot of 90s inserts, rare inserts, oddball stuff. I'm really into that kind of stuff. And then, of course, I got a couple Jordans I want to share. Just picked this one up last year, the silver refractor Gem Mint 10. Again, serial numbered out of, this is a little higher one, but let's see there, 1099. Definitely one of my favorites there. For me, that's a long-term investment. And put in a fourth one here. One of my all-time favorites. I remember working at the card shop, and these boxes were, I think, $65 a box. 97, 98, 9.5. Just beautiful card. Obviously extremely iconic with the sale that happened of the PMG green last year. Just a huge fan of these cards. The design element, the connection to the 90s nostalgia. I mean, you guys have talked about it. It's just so exciting to me. And I was lucky enough to pick one up in early March at what it looks like now almost a rock bottom price. Obviously, they've come down since then, but they immediately skyrocketed. And I love, one thing I do love about this card, I'll show it again, is that image of him mirrors that Michael Jordan rookie card so well. Just that, the way he's holding the ball and jumping through the air. Big fan of it. I just think that's one of the most iconic cards of the 90s.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
And Julian, what do you collect?
So I'm from Park Hill in Denver, Colorado. And I went to the same high school as Chauncey Billups. I graduated in the same class as his little brother, Rodney Billups. And some of my best friends played on that basketball team. So I just grew up a huge Chauncey Billups fan. So I have a sizable Chauncey Billups collection that I just add to. And it's kind of my own thing that I'm interested in. From a hobby perspective, and like learning about cards and, some of the stuff that Abdul has been teaching me, I really fell in love with the Fleer Metal Slick Silver cards. I love their design. I love that they're on acetate, which is a medium that I actually use in my own art, and that I think is just a cool artistic medium anyways. And one of the cards that I have that I really love is this Reggie Miller Gem Mint 10. And what I love about this card is that there's only 7 of these in the world. And I just love that idea of rarity and scarcity. And I'd love to own all 7 of them. So if the other 6 of you are out there, we'll call them. Now, one of my favorite cards that I own is the first card that I've ever owned, as an adult at least. And I'll tell you a little bit about this card. It's an oil painting on a Fleer card of D Brown, and it's signed by Abdul Mazid in 2009, and it was from some of the original cards that he was making at the time. And Abdul and I had been hanging out for a while, and he gave me this card kind of as a token of our friendship. And I really cherish this card. It is definitely the favorite card I own. It means a lot to me.
That's awesome. It's a beautiful card. I approve of all of your collections. Not that you need my approval at all, but I like it. And I notice you both have what we call like shadow or ghost cards, where there's multiple of the player behind them. So the Reggie Miller, and then the
Shaq.
Yeah, the Shaq has the movement of his dunk, and then you also had the Jordan,
the medal,
iconic medal. Yep. We always call those ghost or shadow player cards.
Yeah, I love that. I think I look at that in some of the painted cards that I'm doing, and some of this, sorry, it's kind of the other side, but that idea of
repetition.
Yeah.
It was really, really used a lot in the 90s, I think, that ghosting. Yeah.
And they're starting to bring it back now. So nice. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So do you have top cards, or were those your top cards that you just showed us? I know it was for you, Julian. Abdul?
Yeah, I think those are definitely my favorites. I have other random cards that they're in my storage bins right now, but that I have like personal attachments to, and they're not even, it's just more of a nostalgia thing. But those are my top cards. These are ones that if there's a fire in the house, I'd grab and run out the door.
Dude, that's a legitimate fear. Like, that's not a joking. Like, we really think about that. We live in West LA, and the first year we were here, there were multiple fires, like very close to where we were.
Yeah.
And this past year too, and like we think about that, and it's like, okay, each other, but then like what? It's like obviously the car, like everything else, like.
Yeah, and there's 5 at least that you just grab that stack and you're out the door. If it came to that, but it's a legitimate fear. You're absolutely right.
It's an actual box. It's not just 5. Like it's the whole box.
The whole box, exactly.
You have that box in a specific place where I know where to go, what to get, and then we're out.
Right.
No, yeah. I actually keep that box in like a duffel. So it's like just a grab and go, just in case. Like, we're an earthquake country, right? Like you don't know, you don't play. Yeah. Like we have a go bag, and next to it is where our PC Grails live. So
it's part of your earthquake survival kit.
It is actually
easier to grab than a painting, right?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah,
because that's gonna be awkward under your arm when you're running. But like, just a duffel bag of a shoebox of
so much easier.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like figure out a way to like fold it. I don't know what you're gonna do with that. It's just gonna be like Godspeed, Abdul. Godspeed.
Yeah, I'll have to hang glide on it out the window or something.
There you go. Okay, let's turn this a little less doom and gloom today.
Let's put a positive spin, yeah.
So let's talk about the Currency Project.
All right.
So will you guys explain to me and our audience in your own words, like what is the Currency Project?
Yeah, so one of the most important things that I would like people to know about the Currency Project is it's not that we're just painting on cards to make them look cool. It's a conceptual art piece. And it's really a conceptual art piece about currency, about the valuation of currency, and its function in the open market. So we're looking at the current systems of value and how we can challenge them and how we can think differently and how we can empower communities by doing that. So in order to execute this piece, some of the tools we're using are trading cards, oil paint, an auction platform, social media, the web. So we're trying to bring all of these mediums together to create a currency that kind of acts as a nouveau placeholder of value.
Yeah, and to go along with that, you know, kind of going back to the D Brown card that Julian showed, the beginning conceptual idea for TCP, the currency project, began in 2008 with the financial crisis. You know, we were at the peak of the financial crisis, 2008, early 2009, and there was so much news about the potential for big banks to fail, the money market breaking $1, QE, potential for printing more money. And in my mind, I was looking for a pattern or parallel that I could kind of relate that to. And my mind honestly went right to the junk wax era. So late 80s, early 90s, the, you know, obvious overprinting of cards and the subsequent devaluation of those cards because they were so overprinted. And in my mind, I was obviously concerned, and then thought, hey, maybe this is a chance for me to, in my mind, create a defiant act of create my own system of value. And that's where, you know, the concept kind of stemmed from.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, if you take it a step forward and you flash forward to 2020, and we're seeing that very similar pattern now where, you know, we're adding more currency to the system, and specifically with the pandemic, you know, we have this $2 trillion stimulus package. We have another one pending. And in a way, I wonder if that's what spurred a lot of people to find interest in the hobby. You know, people looking for alternative investments, and they're looking for a place to kind of this tangible thing that they can hold on to where they can kind of park their wealth. You know, it's very similar to say like buying gold or buying art. So as we see all of these, you know, the jobless claims going up, unrest in community, more stimulus coming, we thought this was a perfect opportunity to explore our current systems and kind of propose new opportunities to folks.
Mm-hmm. And I want to go back to one thing real quick, something that's pretty important about the entire project. So something that's really important is the socially engaged aspect of this conceptual art piece. And what that means is that the currency project actually thrives on the participation of the general public. And it's pretty cool. Like during this pandemic, we're actually making art that people can engage with from their couch, from their phones, anywhere on the planet. All you really need is, there you go. That's one of ours that's up right now on eBay. And all you need is internet access and eBay access, essentially. You don't need to go to a gallery or a museum. And in the art world, that's a big issue, as you probably know, is that accessibility is an issue. And we're excited to make art that's actually democratic. It's available to anybody with internet access, and of course, every piece of currency for the currency project is available to the public via auction on our eBay page.
Nice. So why do you choose the cards that you choose? Like, what is there a method to choosing which card gets entered? Okay, I see some.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I think some of this is where at least for me, I get to have a little bit of fun and you know, go onto eBay and look for these visual opportunities and find kind of unique cards that I think I can use and mold into something interesting. So I'll show you some examples. Like for example, I love these Revolution cards, and what I love about them is just the refractor quality, that I can pull out the piece that I really like and kind of highlight it, and you can see that kind of refractor just, coming through the back of the paint. And
Yep.
yeah, so I enjoy just looking for those visual qualities of cards, even if they're not expensive. um, I also like looking for things in cards that I can kind of isolate and bring out something unique that people might look over. So I just painted this Jordan card, and you can see I left the fan kind of down there at the bottom, and this was like a little Easter egg that I left in the card for somebody to uncover, and I thought that was really fun. And
I love that. Love it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I tend to focus on iconic images when I choose the cards that I paint on. So for an example, most recent, there you go. It's kind of imagery that that is, both action shots and giving me a space to add my creativity to the backgrounds. So I'm definitely a huge fan of looking at design possibilities when I'm choosing the cards, and a lot of that design possibility comes from, I think, 90s card design, and that tends to show up in, as you can see behind me, in a lot of my other artwork. So my work is very much influenced by those 90s card design elements. Yeah, there's something about that I think, again, triggers my nostalgia. It's very captivating in a way. Feels energized.
Yeah. Love those cards. As I said, like, I'm a huge fan and supporter of what you guys are doing, and I'm really, really happy to give you guys a platform to talk about your art and everything you're doing with the Currency Project, or TCP, which I hadn't heard. But yeah, is that, are we calling it that now?
I know we call it between the two of us, because we talk about it so much. It's like, to say the Currency Project a million times, like we probably save 10 minutes a day by just saying it.
Okay.
Very, very economical.
I'm one of the cool kids now. I'm going to call it the TCP. So let's talk about your art. I know, Abdul, you said you pointed out the beautiful piece behind you.
Mm.
So where do you find your inspiration to create?
I think, especially with this project, where we're finding inspiration is in this conceptual idea of creating value, and then even of like challenging value systems. And when you think about creating value from like a card perspective, you're taking something that's really common in the marketplace. There might be a print run of 10,000 cards, or even with some projects these days, like 90,000 cards. And we're making it a one-of-one original painting. And for us, that's a really interesting idea, and rarity and uniqueness and, individuality. So maybe even to like tie that back to art history a little bit, you think of Marcel Duchamp, and you think of how he took this toilet that was pretty much like ubiquitous in the world, and then he elevated it and he put it in a gallery, he signed it, and he made it very special. And I think that's kind of what we're doing with cards, is we're taking this thing and we're making them very special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so where that gets really interesting is for us is using cards that already have a declared value or an assigned value, and what does it mean to paint on those cards? And that, again, is challenging the value systems. It's asking questions, not accepting that things are just the way they are forever, indefinitely. And I think a good example in the art world of this would be Robert Rauschenberg in the 1950s, who went to a then more famous artist in New York and explained this idea that he wanted to create art by removing marks, and asked this artist to give him one of his paintings for this project. And the artist understood the idea and said, yes, here you go. Gave him the most complex painting he had to work with. And Robert then spent the next 3 months removing each of those marks from this thing until it was completely blank again. And what was really interesting was that performative aspect of removing those marks now created a space for dialogue and questioning the systems that created value. And as Rauschenberg even said himself, he said, this was actually a celebration of Willem de Kooning's work. And we feel very similarly about our project and the cards that we're working with. We're actually celebrating sports cards. Mm-hmm. And how that ties to like what's happening with the Currency Project is, we start questioning like, what is the difference between painting on a Michael Jordan rookie card versus painting on, say, an AC Green or Kobe Bryant base card? And I think with everything happening in the world right now, we think it's a perfect opportunity to start questioning our current value systems.
I agree. Yeah, very well put. So like, this next question seems like such like a letdown after that.
Never. We'd always go right back up, right? Yeah.
What were your first artistic aspirations?
I think when as an artist you look at an aspiration for some impact, and for us it's, or at least for me, it's really an impact for change. I have a platform as an artist to reach this wide audience and to help them understand something that we don't have to accept, and how we can potentially do things differently. And I really think that's the power in art, is to ask you to come and engage with something and then ask questions and think about what the next steps might be. And you look at humans and we're never complete, and we're always moving forward. We're on this continuum of progress. And here we're looking at the evolution of the ideas of resource management. And mm-hmm. I think that's like a really cool space to be in.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, for me, artistic aspiration, a main one is empowerment. So truthfully, this project isn't about us, isn't about Julian and I. The project is about the people. And really what we want to do is we want to show people that they can create their own systems of value rather than, just relying on the existing system. And what we're doing is we're showing them a model of creation of value. So we're not telling people to go out and buy a bunch of, basketball cards and start painting on them. But what we are showing people is that there are alternative methods of value creation and value transfer available to them.
All right. And what do you listen to during studio time? Do you listen to books on tape? Do you listen to music? What kind of music? What kind of books? Like, mm-hmm. What podcast do you listen to?
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier in the conversation, I'm a huge basketball fan. So mm-hmm. especially during the basketball season, I'll be watching basketball. Like I get the league pass, I'll have it on in the background, and it's like my favorite way to pass time. And now with this project, I love the idea of watching basketball and thinking about who the next great players are going to be, and then thinking about, I would love to paint on these rookie cards of players that I think are going to be, the next great players. And then, 10 years from now, someone's trying to collect, like, say, the Luka Doncic rookie cards. But not just that, they're also trying to collect the Luka Doncic rookie card that was painted on. It might be a one of one. And that, I think, is a really cool way to kind of pass the time and enjoy like what I'm doing as I'm working.
Yeah, and similarly, I used to watch hockey before all this quarantine happened, and I'm hoping the season does return. Everyone can safely, participate again. But now, I've always watched like YouTube videos in the background, or a movie I've seen before, or listen to music, and that way I really don't have to really pay attention to that specifically. It can kind of just be on in the background, and that definitely influences my work when I'm in the studio.
All right. And then last question we have for you today is, what is your ultimate Grail project?
I don't mind taking this one because it's for us, and I'll give you a little bit of history. Abdul and I have been talking we made an agreement. We said, let's talk on the phone once a week, every week, about art and what we want to do with art and where we want to take it. And we had been doing that for probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. It was this continuous conversation, and we go back and forth on ideas, on, all kinds of stuff. And I think where we landed is we're actually working on our Grail project right now. Like this is it. Artists being able to influence change, providing empowerment in communities, creating a bridge between the things that we really love. Like, we love art, we love sports, we love trading cards, we love investing. We love the idea that people get to engage with what we're doing on a global scale. I mean, from an artist perspective, I don't know if it gets much better than that. Like, I feel like we really have hit the sweet spot, and we're really excited to be here. And we're really excited about all the engagement that we're getting and all the feedback we're getting. And in some aspects, we're really, sometimes we get on the phone and we're really humbled by that. We're like, man, this is amazing. This is such a cool opportunity, just a cool place to be.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about or ask me today?
No, I think that it covers a lot of what we're thinking with the project.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us it was really cool to be able to share all of this with everyone, and get a platform to get our voice out, and tell people what we're doing, and hopefully invite people to come and participate, because as we said in the beginning, that's a big part of this project is the participation. And the participation doesn't even mean necessarily bidding on cards. It might mean just being a watcher, being someone that follows it, being someone that comments on it. Just any kind of engagement is still participation and things that we look forward to. So
totally.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. The Currency Project is inviting you all to participate in whatever way you want. Definitely follow them on Instagram at The Currency Project. We'll have that up for you. I believe you see it right up here, the entire episode. So make sure you go and follow them and follow this amazing project and the work that Abdul and Julian are doing. Thank you guys again from the bottom of my heart for coming on today. It was such a pleasure to talk to you and hear about your work and your inspirations.
Thank you, Kristina.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. This has been another episode of Kristina's Corner, the original House of Jordan spinoff. Make sure you check out our next episode and all the episodes. Don't forget to like and comment below. I want to hear from you, too. Participate in Kristina's Corner as well. So have a good day, guys, and I'll see you later.